Number 10. Young Justice. Earth 16 is the designated number given to the reality we see in Young Justice. Despite being an animated series, Young Justice is actually considered to be separate from the main DCAU reality, and is instead its own separate Earth. Here, Hal Jordan is Green Lantern. We first met Jordan in 2010 when the series started, but he continues to appear in the series up until its final season in 2021. This version of Hal here is one of the founding members of the Justice League. Like in the comics, he is also based in Coast City. One of the fun facts that I just find entertaining from this universe is that Hal Jordan is revealed as not liking Guy Gardner. Both he and John Stewart in this reality were very much against having Guy join the Justice League when they were considering adding new members to the roster. Also, I gotta say, I haven't watched Young Justice yet, and it keeps getting recommended to me, so I feel like I really need to watch it. If you have a favorite moment or episode, let me know, because I want to go back and watch all of it. And friends, before we move on to our next spot on this list, if you love what we do here at Top 10 Nerd, why not tell us that you love us by clicking that like button? Seriously, it really helps us out if you do that, so if you want to, then I would like that. Number 9. Earth 5. Hal Jordan of Earth 5 hails from an interesting reality. Here, Hal Jordan is still the hero known as Green Lantern, but what else do we know about him? Not much in terms of his origins, but what we do know is that in this reality, Hal doesn't swear or use profanity, because that's just not a thing that folks do on Earth 5, gosh darn it. He ended up being pitted against 2 other Green Lanterns when he was summoned by the future evil version of Captain Atom, who is known as Monarch. Number 8. Justice League of Assassins. Of course, with the Justice League of Assassins, they were pretty short-lived, appearing in only a single issue where, well, they kinda died, despite being, I would assume, amazing assassins. However, that being said, I think these are characters who ultimately look really cool when it comes to their design, which is why I'm including them here. And I'm sure, you know, before this moment, although we don't get to see much of them, they were all pretty bad. Included among their ranks was their own Green Lantern, who appears to be somewhat cybernetic in terms of his abilities and his look, instead of having just a straight up Green Lantern power ring. Now this might explain why they didn't make it out alive past their first appearance in the Rebirth Superman issue number 15 from 2017. The Justice League of Assassins hail from Earth number 14. Hopefully we get to see more of Earth number 14 at some point. Number 7. Earth 33. Another version of Green Lantern that I find interesting, along with the world and team he hails from, is a Green Lantern of Earth 33. We don't know his name, but we know his powers are innately magic. He has only made one appearance in Countdown to Adventure issue number 3, but he comes from a really cool team from his Earth known as the League of Shamans. On Earth 33, their version of the Justice League are basically all magic users. The Green Lantern, while magic, still has a Green Lantern ring, and is supposedly also part of a version of the core from this reality. Whether the ring is also magic based remains to be completely confirmed here, but it does seem to be implied, at least to me, that Green Lanterns in this world were also based in the world of cosmic magic. At least, that's what it seems to me. Number 6. Abin Sur. On Earth 20, Abin Sur is actually the protector of Earth as Green Lantern. However, tragically, because he resembles a devil here, he actually protects Earth from a distance because he doesn't want to scare the planet's inhabitants. I think that's both sweet and also kinda sad. As such, he protects Earth from the shadows, a hero who is largely unknown to the planet's populace. Not only is he a member of the Green Lantern Corps in this reality, but he is also a member of the Society of Superheroes, who were brought together by this universe's Dr. Fate, who goes simply by Doc Fate. Abin Sur as Green Lantern is also one of the heroes who joins up with the multiversal superhero team known as Justice Incarnate. Number 5. Star Sapphire. Despite still being known as Star Sapphire on Earth 11, Carol Jordan, an alternate of both Hal Jordan and Carol Ferris, is actually the equivalent to Hal Jordan's Green Lantern of the Prime Earth. Earth 11 is a world in which the premier superhero team of Earth, known as the Justice Guild, is basically gender bent, being made up of mostly female superheroes who are versions of their Prime Earth male counterparts. Wonder Woman, of course, in this reality though, is a man, because that would of course be the gender bend for Wonder Woman, Wonder Man. Despite being the alternate version of this Earth's Green Lantern, however, Carol still remains here a Star Sapphire, but is cemented solely as a hero, so not necessarily Star Sapphire in the sense that sometimes she's kinda evil. Number 4. Tangent Comics. I love the whole look of this character, to be honest. She seems super cool and super mysterious. This version of Green Lantern hails from Tangent Comics, as per the name of this point, obviously. She made her first appearance in Tangent Comics Green Lantern issue number 1 in the 90s. Now, if you aren't familiar, Tangent Comics was actually a DC imprint that existed from 1997 to 1998. It had various one-shot comics that introduced new characters who use names familiar to us through DC Comics mainline, but adding a new creative spin on them. As a result, its characters were super different from the versions that we are used to. Green Lantern herself has claimed to have many different names, including Lois Lane and Zatanna, but her true identity still remains a mystery to us. Her power actually seems to come from a more traditional Chinese lantern as well, so she's quite a different character and quite a different take, which I guess is why I like her so much. Number 3. Alan Scott. Now for this one, we're not talking about the Prime Earth Alan Scott. In fact, you may have noticed I'm actively trying to avoid mentioning any Prime Earth lanterns on this list that, just are not Hal Jordan. We are talking instead about Alan Scott of Earth 2. This version of Alan Scott gained his powers after he almost died as the result of a train crash. Here, Alan Scott specifically uses his Green Lantern powers to fight against the Grey, which is also interesting because his former love, Sam Zhao, actually goes on to become an avatar of the White. Yes, in this reality, Alan Scott is still gay. For any who are wondering, in fact his history here differs somewhat, as he is actually openly gay in this reality, which is a little different. In fact, Alan was about to propose to Sam when the train they were on crashed, ultimately leading to Alan getting his powers after being left as the only survivor. That's right, everyone else was gone, is just Alan left. He was approached by the Green Flame, which told him he was chosen to become the protector of Earth as Earth's Green Lantern. Number 2. Emerald Knight. This alternate version of John Stewart hails from Earth number 3, the home of the crime syndicate. This version of John, however, unlike many others from this universe, doesn't seem to be exactly a supervillain. Although he definitely does kill people and has made some questionable choices for sure, but there's definitely people in this reality that are more villainy than him. Initially, this version of John Stewart was a father and policeman who made a deal with a crime lord in order to get his daughter an emergency operation on her leg that she desperately needed. Although he paid the crime lord back right away, as he obviously did not want to be in debt to him, one night the crime lord's son ran into John and basically mocked him for having ever even made a deal with his father. Furious, John beat the son of the crime boss out back in an alleyway. When his daughter begged him to stop, a ring appeared presenting itself to him. Because the son was basically at this point threatening to tell his father and promised that John and his daughter would pay with their lives for their actions here, John chose to accept the ring and became an Emerald Knight, one of the overlords of Oa's soldier. A major difference between the Emerald Knights and the Green Lanterns of Prime Earth is that they can severely punish those who are deemed their enemy, often killing them. Number 1. DCAU John Stewart. While we know of John Stewart from the Prime Earth reality, the main continuity currently of the comics, he also has an alternate that hails from the DC animated universe. The animated universe isn't just pulled from one show, but is actually made up of a collection of shows, films, and comics, all exploring the same versions of these characters. It's not even really just its own universe, to be honest. At this point, it's also kind of like its own multiverse, possessing at least 9 of its own different alternate Earths. Here, John Stewart has a similar origin to his comic book counterpart, serving in the military before later being selected to be a member of the Green Lantern Corps. Part of the reason he actually believes he was selected is because of his time spent reading superhero comics as a kid, which he thinks actually helped him to aspire to become a hero, developing heroic traits and characteristics, and hence therefore being selected to become a Green Lantern. Number 10. Lop Fan. Lop Fan is a very unique lantern and is also good friends with fellow Green Lantern Gardner. Hey. Lop Fan is a silicone-based alien life form. He has no eyes and is from an area of space known as the Obsidian Deeps, which is pitch black, basically. Can't see anything there. Because Lop Fan is blind, and because his alien race have never experienced light or color, he was given an alternative explanation of what the Green Lantern Corps are. In fact, green and lantern aren't even words he would understand, so instead he was offered a place on the F-sharp Bell Corps, and his ring was actually remodeled into a bell for him to wield in the policing of his sector. Lop Fan even has his own unique oath to boot. Lop Fan's Superman's constructs, therefore, are always musical, and while he cannot see, his sense of hearing is extremely powerful, with him being able to hear from 4 sectors away and potentially even beyond that. That's really far. Number 9. Avra. Avra was one of the first Green Lanterns featured in the animated film Green Lantern Emerald Knights. Avra was actually the last of the 4 to be chosen and was not known for being particularly skilled or good at fighting. However, he proved to be the strongest of the first Green Lanterns, as it was Avra who ended up being creative enough to use his ring to create a construct, fighting back against the Dominators and inspiring their fellow Lanterns to also create constructs besides. Avra was also revealed as possessing the ring that would end up being passed down from lantern to lantern until Abin Sur would inherit it, and from there, Hal Jordan. It should be noted, however, that Avra only exists, I believe, in this film, and is not part of the comic book continuity. Still, it's pretty neat, and I really like this story. And friends, before we move on to this next spot, if you are loving this Green Lanterns list, and you want more Lanterns lists, green or otherwise, be sure to let us know by giving this video a thumbs up. And let us know what your favorite color of lantern is in the comments below. Number 8. Hanu. If we're talking about brute strength in terms of power levels, then one Green Lantern that needs to be highlighted is Hanu. Hanu is an alien who hails from Ovacron 6. On his planet, warriors are taught that to rely on a weapon in battle is a weakness, which means that Hanu tends to prefer and rely on his own strength over his constructs most days. This is a terrifying prospect considering just how strong he is on his own. Due to his alien physiology, Hanu is super strong and super durable, but he is also known for standing out in terms of his strength even among other warrior members of his race. Number 7. Jade. Jade is the daughter of Alan Scott, and when it comes to continuity is kind of a complicated character. I'm going to try to make this as uncomplicated as possible for y'all to understand if you're not as familiar with her. She was initially introduced in the New Earth continuity, making her first appearance in All-Star Squadron issue 25, volume 1 out of the 80s. She was the long-lost daughter of Alan Scott, who later in life connected with her twin brother and figured out the truth of her origins and her connection to the Green Lantern. She has shown both magical powers and plant-based powers due to her heritage and connection to both Alan Scott and Rose Canton, aka Thorn. Later on, Jade would also go on to serve as one of the Earth's Green Lanterns for a while with the actual Corps, but would become displaced in the continuity during the New 52 reset. However, it does look like we may be seeing her return now, as her brother and father are currently searching for her. Yay! Prime Earth Jade, Prime Earth Jade. Number 6. Soranik Natu. Soranik Natu is the daughter of Sinestro and would end up taking over as the leader of his own corps, the Sinestro Corps, after her father becoming a Yellow Lantern. But before that, we knew her as the reluctant member of the Green Lanterns. Soranik initially did not want to become a Green Lantern due to her own father's reputation on their homeworld, where he was both a Green Lantern, but also, unbeknownst to his colleagues on the Corps, a ruthless dictator. She, like many, associated the Corps with oppression for this reason. Soranik, however, was also a surgeon and would accept the Green Lantern ring that came to her in order to save a patient's life, whose condition at the time was steadily worsening while in surgery. And then she basically kind of learned that Green Lanterns maybe aren't that bad. Number 5. Chip. While he may have gotten hit by a car in the main continuity, RIP, in the Injustice continuity, Chip is a badass. Chip is actually a Green Lantern who, while appearing as a chipmunk, is in reality an alien from the planet Mullein. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. I don't speak the same language, I'm sure, as Chip's race, but I think it's Mullein. Haven? I always want to say it Haven, but that's definitely not right based on how it's spelled. In the Injustice reality, Chip proved just how mighty even his smaller stature can be when he used it to his advantage to hold Superman. Chip's explanation for this was that big powerhouses like Superman always underestimate the small opponents and don't really know how to guard themselves against tiny enemies and attacks as a result. Chip used his Green Lantern powers and small thinking to stop the synapses from firing in Superman's brain, rendering him completely completely immobile temporarily. Number 4. Abin Sur. Abin Sur was a capable and very important lantern when it came to their history, as he is the Green Lantern who would pass on and in so doing be replaced by Hal Jordan, considered one of the greatest Green Lanterns of the modern age. Abin Sur could also be considered a very wise and fearless Green Lantern. He learned of the Blackest Night prophecy involving the downfall of the Corps, and also learned of his own fate, his death, and the one who is destined to inherit his ring. Beyond that, he was an inspirational lantern and influenced other great lanterns who would rise to prominence after him. As a teacher and a role model, he was quite powerful, and I think that should definitely count for something. Number 3. Mogo. Mogo is known as the Living Planet, and is a whole planet who is a member of the Green Lantern Corps. Though you might not know about it due to the facts that their membership has not been well recorded, they aren't very social, and they can't really attend meetings on Oa due to their strong gravitational field. While Mogo might be kind of restricted because they are a planet, they are also tasked with selecting all of the new Green Lantern recruits out in the cosmos, which gives them not only great responsibility, but great power as well. Also, if Mogo decided to create constructs and do that more often, they'd probably be like really crazy, cause they a planet. Number 2. Guy Gardner. I hear you, Guy Gardner fans. So many of you shouted out your love for this hero on part 1 of this list, and one fan, Toganium, even highlighted one of his most powerful superpowers, the ability to annoy anyone. I cannot argue with that logic. Guy Gardner is definitely really good at annoying people. Guy Gardner might be one of the most stubborn Green Lanterns out there, but that is also a part of what makes him great. Guy often refuses to back down from fights, even if his opponent appears stronger than him, and refuses to let others influence his actions or his beliefs, which means his will is really strong, particularly when it comes to doing what he believes to be right. He's kind of a loose cannon though, which can end up working in his favor, but also sometimes works against him. Number 1. Dawnbreaker. Dawnbreaker is the alternate dark multiverse version of Bruce Wayne from Earth -32. He comes from a reality where he was chosen as the one to inherit Abin Sur's power ring in place of Hal Jordan. Bruce did not care for the rules and regulations of the Green Lantern Corps, and instead only saw his Green Lantern ring as a tool to be used. His willpower was so strong, he managed to use the ring to avenge his parents' death, overriding and corrupting it and bending it to his will, so that he could use it to kill his enemies. In the end, he faced off with the Green Lantern Corps and the Guardians of the Universe, and killed all of them. That is how powerful Dawnbreaker is. So, yeah. Number 10. Simon Baz. Simon Baz is one of the newer Green Lanterns, though that feels a little bit weird to say now, as he was first introduced in 2012, and we've definitely had quite a few new ones pop up since then. Also, 2012 was almost 10 years ago, wow. Before he was a Green Lantern, he was an engineer turned street racer turned car thief due to the result of the financial crisis. Due to his Muslim origins, being a Lebanese American following the tragedy of 9/11, he had to deal with many people judging him and his family based on his background and how he looked. Because of this, when he was apprehended for attempting to steal a car, he was suspected of being involved in much larger schemes related to national security, and was therefore sent to Guantanamo Bay. Fortunately, it was at that time that he was chosen by his ring to become a Green Lantern. Even while dealing with a ring that was programmed by Sinestro and not really knowing what he was doing because he was super new at the time, he still managed to create constructs when he first came up against the Justice League following a misunderstanding. I think it's pretty impressive that he was even able to make constructs, because I feel like that would be a lot. Number 9. Jessica Cruz. I mean, Jessica has to be one of the most powerful Green Lanterns at this point, especially given, well, everything that she's been through. Jessica started off inheriting the power ring of Earth 3, which was in itself a story. It actually took control of her itself, forcing her to become its host against her own will. In the end, Batman helped her to regain control of herself by sharing with her his experience of finding strength in great moments of tragedy, where he himself had felt like a victim. Jessica would then train with Hal Jordan to gain a better sense of how to use her ring, but only briefly, as Hal was kinda soon after called to space. That was when Simon and Jessica were left alone together with a battery between them to share as they attempted to figure out how to best be superheroes and lanterns together. Hal basically forced them to become partners, and he was like, you two need to figure this out. Jessica also struggles with severe anxiety, which is one of the reasons Simon was kind of frustrated to be paired up with her, at least to begin with. And friends, before we move on to this next spot, if you are loving this list and you love space cops, Green Lanterns as much as I do, please be sure to let us know by giving this video a thumbs up. Also comment below, subscribe, hang out, check out some other videos, you know. Just chill with us for a bit. How are you doing? Put your feet up. Feel good. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. You know, just be cool and hang out with us. We like you. We like you. Stick around. Number 8, Alan Scott. A lot of comic fans may think of Alan Scott as being one of the weakest Green Lanterns because of, well, his weakness to wood, but don't let that fool you. Although his weakness to wood is pretty silly, Alan Scott is still an extremely powerful and unique Green Lantern. He was the first Green Lantern and has since had himself more separated from the general Space Cops Green Lantern Corps in terms of how he operates and how his powers work. I mean, initially when he was introduced with Earth 2, Alan Scott, he wasn't even really connected to the Green Lantern Corps. Because back then, we didn't have to do origin stories and really make everything make sense, but here we are now. Alan Scott's powers actually come from a magical entity that was once the prisoner of the Guardians of the Universe, known as the Starheart. At least if we're going with the New Earth story, which here, we're going with the New Earth story because I like it the best. The Starheart ended up on Earth and saved Alan's life. He wore the entity like a ring, which for many years was the source of his power, and adopted the mantle Green Lantern. Alan has also managed since then to merge with his own battery that he fashioned out of the Starheart. Basically, he fashioned a battery and a ring out of it. In merging with his battery, though, he became even more powerful as he became the power source for his own ring. Which is pretty cool. You gotta respect Alan Scott. That's what I think. Number 7, Kilowog. Kilowog is the main recruiter for the Green Lanterns and is also their head trainer. He pretty much trains all of the new recruits, and with good reason, as he's a very powerful and capable Green Lantern. Kilowog is so powerful that back in the New Earth continuity, when his homeworld, Bolivax Vic, was first destroyed and he was on it, although his ring only instinctively protected him, he actually used his willpower and his ring to capture the billions of life energies of the citizens on his homeworld, storing them within his ring until he could find a new and safe world to release them on. Unfortunately, his homeworld and family would still later be destroyed by Sinestro even after he saved them, but it was still an impressive feat for him to have saved them all the first time around. But it's very sad that they all died anyways. That sucks. Kilowog has a sad story, friends. It's sad. Number 6, Sinestro. Sinestro, before Hal Jordan showed up, was celebrated as the most powerful of all the Green Lanterns. That is, of course, until Hal exposed him as the villain he truly was. Despite the fact that Sinestro is now considered a villain and is the head of his own corps, the Yellow Lantern-based Sinestro Corps, he also deserves respect for just how crazy powerful he is and was as a Green Lantern. There is a reason that fellow Lanterns considered him to be the best. I mean, he even had to go back to being a Green Lantern for a time because he was so skilled and the Guardians needed him. Even though at that point he was already a leader of the Sinestro Corps and he was very happy as such. He was like, I don't really want to go back to being a Green Lantern, and they're like, well, we're the Guardians of the Universe, you have no choice. Also, every time I say Guardians of the Universe, I've been wanting to say Guardians of the Galaxy today. Obviously, I need more Guardians of the Galaxy in my life. I'm not sure what's happening to me. Hopefully I haven't, and I won't say Guardians of the Galaxy in this video, because that would make no sense. Guardians of the Galaxy are not applicable to Green Lanterns. Not at all. No connection. Totally different publishers. Number 5, Jo Mullein. Jo probably has some of the greatest potential of all the Green Lanterns we have ever met. She was given a very special kind of ring, one that doesn't actually need a battery but can self-charge on its own. Of course, its charging is slow going, and Jo isn't a master of it yet, but still, it's very impressive. It's like, we're talking like Alan Scott coolness. In Future State, we got to see a glimpse into Jo's possible future where she is a member of the Justice League and also becomes proclaimed as the greatest detective in the entire universe, which is pretty huge. Jo might not be there yet, but she shows so much promise in terms of what she can accomplish with her willpower, even just from what we've seen in Far Sector, that I think she deserves this spot, especially considering how powerful she'll likely go on to become. I'm just saying now, I'm putting my bets down that Jo's gonna be one of the most powerful Green Lanterns of all time. I'm also so ready to see her and Hal Jordan go toe to toe. That is a fight / team up I cannot wait to read. And if you missed that clash of things, that was from Future State Green Lantern issue number 2. It's the last story in there, and woo! Love that story. Number 4, Sodam Yat. Sodam Yat is a Daxamite, an alien race who is similar in terms of abilities, powers, and physiology to Superman's race, the Kryptonians. So basically, Sodam Yat is like if Superman were a Green Lantern in terms of how much natural power he packs. Sodam Yat was also given a rare opportunity to bond with Ion. Ion is the creature within the Green Lantern battery, similar to Parallax with its tie to the Yellow Lanterns, or Sinestro core, obviously, but not inherently evil like Parallax was, as Ion doesn't feed on fear. I believe only 2 characters have ever been known to bond with Ion, and Sodam Yat was one of them. Also, if you're confused about Ion and the whole creatures thing, it's a whole thing. I'm not really going to get into it, but basically each different type of lantern, each color has their own creature. It's a whole thing. Number 3, Kyle Rayner. Kyle Rayner is a favorite for many fans, and we all know him as the Lantern who is able to tap into the powers of the White Lanterns, which is pretty cool. But did you know that his connection to the emotional spectrum actually extends out beyond even just becoming a White Lantern? And did you know that it was Kyle himself who through his own willpower pushed through to explore the ultraviolet range? He actually pursued becoming a White Lantern in order to put a stop to the corrupted Guardians of the Universe, and along the way unlocked the full range of the emotional spectrum, meaning that Kyle isn't just a great Green Lantern, but can also be a great Lantern of any other color besides, because he is so in tune with all of his emotions. Which of course means he isn't maybe the most powerful Green Lantern, but he's definitely the most powerful in general, all around. We get to see him grow all around as a hero in the New 52 New Guardians series, so if you're wanting to check out that journey, check that series out. He also is one of the very few Lanterns to bond with Ion, the Green Lantern battery's creature, and their bond is mutual, meaning that both lend one another strength and power. So yeah, him and Sodam Yat, and I'm pretty sure that's it. Number 2, John Stewart. John Stewart has to be high up on our list just for all the insane constructs he's managed to create. At one point, his ring actually told him that his willpower was greater than it could even process. So we are talking off the charts willpower, which has helped John to stand out by accomplishing some pretty mighty tasks. Something else that I love about John Stewart is just the reasoning behind abandoning his mask. John isn't just strong of will, but he's also strong when it comes to his courage in revealing his true identity to the world. He does not wear a mask because he wants to be seen, and he wants other people of color to know that they too can be a hero like him. And I love that. Number 1, Hal Jordan. There might be some weird stuff going on with Hal right now, but it's pretty much guaranteed that we'll all consider him to be one of the strongest Green Lanterns around for as long as Green Lanterns exist in comics. When it comes to Hal Jordan, the thing that makes him stand out above all others is his willpower, which is, kind of the main thing you need as a Green Lantern. One time after he died, his willpower was so strong, he managed to resurrect himself. You know you were crazy powerful when you can just will yourself back to life. That is some Jean Grey levels of power. And even though he was possessed by Parallax at the time, it was still Hal who was responsible for destroying the central battery on Oa and for killing the entire core, which is obviously awful. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but still, it's a really insane and kind of impressive feat, I think. That's crazy. Hal just was like, boom, you're all gone. Woo! What are some of your favorite Green Lantern Corps members? Who do you think are some of the most powerful recruits? Are there any old lanterns that you would like to see brought back? Or any ideas for new lanterns you'd like to see introduced? Let us know in the comments below. Also, much love to all of our Guy Gardner fans out there. Hopefully we get to do a part 2 because that is another powerful Green Lantern I'd love to talk about, among others that have been unmentioned here. So yes, Guy Gardner fans, I see you, I hear you. I want to also celebrate Guy Gardner, I didn't have enough spots.